Hey guys, what's up? It's the Beardy Red Viking and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. I've been a metalhead since my last few years of high school and it's been a massive part of my life ever since then really. Going to shows, collecting music and even being a vocalist in a local band for a few years. But due to a combination of health problems over the last few years, depression, some complications with my diabetes, I've got type 1. I'd let it slip. I haven't been to too many shows, obviously because of COVID and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I kind of lost my way with music and that. But for me, 2021 was the year where I rediscovered my passion for it. I've always been more of a CD collector. I've only ever picked up the odd vinyl release here and there, if it's come in like a special edition or something over the years. But this was also the year where I got the vinyl bug. I finally succumbed to the habit. And I must admit, I've become a little bit obsessed. Just a little bit. And I've been thinking about starting my own channel for a bit. And when I saw the Rock Scout do his Metal Tag 2022 a few weeks ago, I thought it was a good opportunity for me to get started really. I've decided to give it a go. So this is my first ever YouTube video and it is Metal Tag 2022. Here we go then. Question 1. Your favourite reissue of 2021? For me, it's got to be this monster. It's the box set, the deluxe box set of the Black Album by Metallica. It's absolutely crammed full of CDs, DVDs, vinyl, containing demos, live material. Got the original album. I'll show you a few bits. If you give us 1 second. So you've got the original album on 180 gram, remastered. You've got a Sad But True picture disc. You've got live at Wembley Stadium from when they did the Queen tribute in '92. And then there's the classic performance at Monsters of Rock in Moscow in 1991 to about 7 million people or whatever it was. So we've got that. Got a lyric sheet. Got a few daft little magazine covers and that. And then there's an absolute monstrous collection of CDs, as well as like a book with pictures and stuff, which is cool. That being a classic of all time. But yeah, there's a few DVDs. So you've got some outtakes from the year and a half in a life of Metallica DVD set, video set originally, from many years ago. And then you've got a load of demos, live stuff, all sorts. It's absolutely crammed. It'd take you days to get your way through that. 190 quid, so it wasn't cheap. But for me, Metallica's always going to be one of my favourite bands. So for me, it's worth it. It had to be the best reissue of the year for me. Absolutely no question about it. Right then, question 2. A band you discovered, new or old, in 2021. For me, it's a band that you could describe as both, new and old. They're new to me. They're a band called Cadaveric Fumes. Now, the reason why I say that you could say they're old or new is because basically this year they released their debut album. It's called Echoing Chambers of Soul. It's the first album, as I say, but they then decided to break up afterwards. So we won't be getting any more from them. But yeah, they're a French death metal band. Classic, old school, with a bit of a twist. Absolutely brilliant. I got it on Bandcamp. I haven't actually received it yet. I pre-ordered it. It's due to come out very soon. So I've just been hitting it on Spotify. And I highly recommend it. Pick it up on Bandcamp. You can't get it from them anymore, but you can get it from their record label, which is Blood Harvest Records. I think they've got a few left, so if you're quick, you might get one. So question 3. Show an album with an outstanding vocal performance. Now this is another one that I can't unfortunately show because I haven't received it yet. I have pre-ordered it, but it's not come out yet, so I'm waiting for it still. But it's an EP by a project called The Life Project. It features the guitarist from Stone Sour, Josh Rand. Not a band I'm particularly interested in, don't normally listen to him. And he's also got a female vocalist with him called Cassandra Carson. She's in a hard rock / metal band called Paralandra. Not overly taken by them either, but this EP, it blew me away. I checked it out and I was really impressed with the vocals. That was what really stood out for me. The power, the range, the ferocity of the vocals really blew me away, particularly a song called The Nothingness. Check it out. Might not be into it. It's pretty mainstream, but I don't mind a bit of mainstream every now and again. So yeah, it can be picked up. I think it's on Nuclear Blast I've ordered it from. Still waiting on it, but should be here soon, hopefully. Right, so question 4. Show a gap filler. Now, I picked this up this year, and there's a little bit of shame. I've got to be honest. It's, as you all know, not a great record, but it's a Metallica record. So I had to buy it. Picked it up kind of cheap, and I needed it because it's Metallica, and I'm a collector. Question 5. Show a cheap pickup from this year. Now, I didn't get anything much cheaper than this. Rainbow's Rising. It's an old pressing, 1976 pressing, so not original I don't think, but pretty close. And it was £6 from the local record shop, and I got to support my local record shop too. So yeah, classic album, had to do it, and it was £6. Cannot argue with that. So number 6, your favourite artwork from a new release. For me, although there's been some pretty awesome artwork out there this year, and any of the records I've mentioned could probably be included, I've gone for this. Monster Magnet with A Better Dystopia. It's bright, it's colourful, psychedelic, generally just cool. Just a pretty good description for the album as well, really. But yeah, that's my artwork of the year. So question 7, a favourite track from 2021. It's got to be Pushing the Tides by Mastodon. First single that he put out on YouTube for it, and I loved it immediately. But when I heard it in the context of the album, closing the first disc, it's even better. It's just brilliant. It's a mixture of everything that Mastodon have always been and always done. Best of everything they've done. It's heavy, it's melodic, it's catchy, it's really cool, and for me it's probably my favourite track of the year. The album in general was brilliant as well, and the artwork is superb. It's got to be Pushing the Tides. It's a great song. Question 8, a song that became an earworm. Going to be Iron Maiden with The Writings on the Wall. I wasn't overly keen on it when I first heard it. I thought it was pretty typical, middle of the road, 21st century Iron Maiden. Still don't exactly love it, but over time it crept into my head and it doesn't seem to leave. I got the album on CD. I wasn't going to pay £50 for the vinyl version, especially after I heard it, because generally I was pretty disappointed with it overall. But yeah, Writing on the Wall, pretty catchy. It's been stuck in my head ever since they first released it. Question 9. 2 albums destined to be culled from your collection. Now, this is probably a bit of a cop-out, but I don't really get rid of music. I tend to look at my collection as being a record of my musical journey. As pretentious as that might sound. So I tend to keep stuff, even if I don't like it or I lose interest. You never know. One day I might go back to it and enjoy it in the future. So yeah, I don't really tend to get rid of music. Question 10 is a band that you have gone off. And for me, it's got to be Machine Head, I'm afraid. One of my favourite bands for years, since I was a teenager. I actually discovered them during their questionable period of output in the late 90s and early 2000s. I liked it at the time because I was all into my new metal. Obviously, I've grown up since then. Yeah, basically, after they came out of that period, I was absolutely blown away by Through the Ashes of Empires, especially Imperium when I heard that track. And then they came out with A Blackening, which was one of the albums of the decade, in my opinion. Unfortunately, though, they've been going downhill ever since then. And the last album was an absolute travesty. So yeah, for me, band I've gone off, Machine Head. Question 11 is a recommendation of an album from the 90s. I'm going to go with Strapping Young Lads' City. It's from 1997. It's weird, it's heavy, and it's just fun to listen to. Detox, main track that you probably know of it, is as heavy as an elephant's arse. And if it doesn't want to make you bang your head, then you must be deaf, or a scally, or I don't know. But yeah, brilliant song, great album. Also introduced me to SYL in general and Devin Townsend as a whole, who's made some of my favourite music in the last couple of decades. So yeah, for me, 90s recommendation, City by Strapping Young Lad. Question 12. Show a 7-inch single or name a single that sold you on an album. I'm going to cheat a little bit here because I don't really do singles. I don't even know if this came out as a single, but it's Lunar Force by Enslaved, and it was from this album, Issa. I think it was about 2006. Absolutely incredible song, and it got me into the band. I'd never heard them before. I'd heard of them, but yeah, this album's an absolutely stunning record. It's the first thing I heard by Enslaved, as I say, and they've become one of my favourite bands since. So yeah, Lunar Force by Enslaved from the album Isa. Question 13 is to name an epic track of 8 minutes or more. I wasn't sure if this was supposed to be from last year or just in general, but I went with one from last year, and it's a song called Astral Mariner by a band called Ethereal Shroud. One guy records it all by himself and released it independently. The album is called Trisagion. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I might be wrong. But yeah, this is Astral Mariner. It's 22 minutes and 35 seconds, and it's actually only the second longest track on the album. There's only 4 songs on here. One of them's a bonus. It's only the second album, the third release in general. It's incredible, atmospheric, ambient black metal, the kind that makes your hairs on your neck stand up. I got it on CD as it's not come out on vinyl yet. I'm hoping it will do at some point this year. I'll definitely be picking it up when they do. Question 14, a quick opinion on Record Store Day. I think it's got its place, but I don't think its place is really for me. A lot of the music released isn't something I'd ever really be interested in, and I'm not really into queuing to get into a shop that I can normally get in, no problem. I get some of the hatred for it with artificial rarity, driving up the prices and stuff like that, but I haven't experienced that myself. In fact, the only 2 Record Store Day releases I've ever bought are these 2. Stairway to Nick John and Fallen Torches by Mastodon Picture Disc. I picked them up on Amazon for 10-15 quid. Overall, I think it's great for record shops, independent record shops. I think it's helped a lot of them to exist and continue to exist over the last few years with everything that's been going on. So maybe not for me. I get some of the hate for it, but for me, I'm okay with it. Question 15 is, what part of my music setup would I change? I've actually already got some new gear. I've got a quad 77 amp and CD player, which I'm going to swap in. Currently, I'm using a Pioneer surround sound receiver and an old Technic CD player, along with a Project turntable, which is brilliant. I don't have any plans to change that. Still got my old Wharfdale Valdez 500 speakers, which are huge and loud and awesome. But yeah, I'm going to be swapping in my quad gear at some point this year once I've sorted out my loft, which is going to become my music room slash game room slash hobby cave. I'm going to try and get that done as soon as I get my arse in gear, and I could even document that on videos on here if anyone has any interest at all. Let me know down in the comments. But yeah, my changes will be made once I've sorted out my new room. 16. Biggest musical disappointment of 2021. My answer to this is kind of a continuation of what my answer would have been last year, and it's got to be the impact that COVID has had on music in general. Things such as the delays to the manufacturing of vinyl, more importantly, the amount of gigs that have been cancelled and postponed. It's devastating for bands, devastating for venues, devastating for us as fans who don't get to go and watch the music that we love. I haven't been to a gig since the back end of 2019, and it feels like an eternity ago. Thankfully, I've got a few coming up in the next few months. I've got Emma Ruth Rundle, who I'm a big fan of. I'm going to go and see her in Manchester on the 9th of February. Going to see Enslaved in Leeds on the 18th. Booked me tickets to get away for that. And then I've got Gojira in March at the Manchester Apollo. That could still get moved because they've just announced that they're postponing the first leg of the European tour. So that could be up next. I wouldn't be overly surprised, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it goes ahead. But yeah, I'm hoping there's going to be a lot more gigs this year. Question 18. Who would you like to see release a solo album? For me, it's going to be Tony Iommi. He recently released a song called Scent of Dark. Weirdly enough, it was made to promote his new cologne, which has got the same name, Scent of Dark. But I actually really enjoyed it, and he recently said that he's got so many riffs, it'd be great to do more instrumental and soundtrack work, so hopefully something's coming. It's been years since his last solo album. We're unlikely to get anything more from Sabbath. So yeah, Tony, do it. Question 19 is, show a placeholder for an album you would rebuy in better condition. Gotta be honest, doesn't really apply to me because I've only just really started collecting vinyl seriously, and I only tend to pick stuff up in very good plus or near mint condition at least. So yeah, it doesn't really apply to me, but I will cheat and I will say that it could be argued that my entire CD collection have now been rendered as placeholders for when I can afford to buy them all on vinyl. Question 20. Because of cost or availability, what album have you yet to pick up? For me, this one's simple. It's Metallica's Master of Puppets Deluxe box set. I showed you the Black album earlier, and they've done one for every album from Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All, and the Black album came out this year. The Master of Puppets one, however, sold out really quickly before I had a chance to pick it up. I have all the others. The Master of Puppets is now going to set you back about £1,000, if not more, if you can pick it up, that is. So that's devastating for me. I'd love to pick it up, but not at that price. I can't afford it for a start, and even if I could, I'm not a big fan of scalpers, so I would like to think I wouldn't pick it up even if it was something that I could afford. So yeah, the Master of Puppets Deluxe box set, I've reluctantly accepted that I'm unlikely to ever own it unless it's reissued, which they said they're not going to do. So yeah. Right, well that's the end of the video. So thank you for tuning in. If you are interested in more of my videos, I will be looking at getting some more out in the near future. Hit that subscribe button down there, wherever it is. And like the video if you could do, and leave us some comments if you've got anything to say, and I'll get back to you. But yeah, thanks very much for tuning in, and I'll see you later.